Good afternoon, grade 12s. Welcome to your first lesson of human evolution. Now, just a quick recap. In grade 10, you have learned about fossils. Fossils are the mineralized remaining of past living organisms in a rock. And what were fossils also used for? They were used to see the changes in organisms. Therefore, in grade 12, we're going to learn about evolution, a constant change that takes place slowly. We're going to specifically focus on the human evolution. Now, these are the objectives of this lesson, what you should be able to do out of this lesson. Now, at the end of the lesson, learners should be able to classify which kingdom humans fit into, what is a phylogenetic tree, and also interpret it. You must also explain the anatomical differences and similarities between African apes and humans. Now we come into biological classification, how we are classified as humans. So modern humans are given the scientific name the Homo sapiens. So we are called Homo sapiens scientifically. So Homo means man and sapiens means wise. Both the word Homo and sapiens are Latin words. So we are considered as part of the animal kingdom, the animal Amalia. Within this kingdom, there are linear classification. So we're going to read classification below them. So we fall under the kingdom Animalia. We are classified as Mammalia, meaning that we are mammals. We can give birth to live youngs, and we also can feed them. We are the member order primates. We have the opposable thumbs and hands with 5 fingers. And we also have nails, and chimpanzees have claws, 2 eye facing forward. So we are the family of the Hominidae. So humans, chimpanzees, gorillas, and orangutans are the family of Hominidae. So we all fall in the family of Hominidae. We are the genus of Homo, and then our species, we are the sapiens. So, this is the evolutionary path of humans and other primates. So, this is also a summary of what we have read in the first slide. So, the kingdom Animalia, we are the vertebrates, we are classified as Mammalia. We are the other primates, we are suborder Arthropodia, we are in the family of the Hominidae. So this was just a summary of what we have learned in the previous slide. So what we have seen on the previous slide, it was a phylogenetic tree. Now we're going to understand what is a phylogenetic tree and also how to interpret it. So they say that a phylogenetic tree indicates which ancestors gave rise to which descendant. So we are the phylogenetic tree, it's indicating the ancestors that gave rise to which descendant. So on this, we have the root of the phylogenetic tree diagrams. There you can see these are the diagrams representing the ancestors. And the tip of the branches, they represent the descendant. So here, this is the roots, which represent the ancestors. They said we also have the branches. So at the tip of the branches, it's the descendants. So as I've shown you, this is the roots, this is the branches, and then this is the tips. So the phylogenetic tree, it's read from the past going to the recent. So on my other side, we have a speciation event. So they say that speciation is represented as a branching of the tree as a single ancestral lineage that give rise to two or more daughter lines. So this is our ancestral lineage giving rise to two daughter lineages. So they say that each lineage has a unique part of its history and also have a part shared with other lineages. So it has a unique part and it also contains other parts of other lineages. So it means it shares other history with other lineages. We will see on our next slide when we proceed. Remember, they said each lineage has a unique. So it means that each lineage has ancestors that are unique to that lineage and common ancestors that are shared with other lineages. Remember, we said that each lineage has its own unique history and also has other history that are shared with other parts of lineages. So here we're going to see when you see this dotted black line, it represents an ancestor which is shared because B and C have the history of this dotted black line, which is the shared history. So, meaning that B and C have history because they share part of B and C. So, coming on the unique history. So, meaning that the branches, when you look at branch B, it has its own history. When we look at C, it also has its own history, but they share the history with this dotted black line. It's the history of B and C. So, hence, they say each line has ancestors that are unique to that lineage and common ancestors. So the dotted line C, it's the common shared ancestor. So the green line of B, it's the unique ancestor. The blue line of C, it's the unique ancestor of C. As we can see here, next we have the red square, the orange square, and also the black square. So the red square represent the common ancestor that is shared by A, B, C, and then the orange represent the ancestor that is shared by B and C. And also we have the black square which has its own unique ancestor. So C doesn't share any ancestor. So when we look into the slide, this is a phylogenetic tree. Remember that we belong to the family of the Hominidae, and there are also primates that also belong in that family. So we have the humans, the chimpanzee, the gorillas, and also the orangutans. Because we are from the same family, it means that we have a common ancestors. As you look into this phylogenetic tree, there we are the humans, the chimpanzee, the gorillas, and the orangutans. So, meaning that this line, we share the same common ancestors. Now, coming to this one, we're going to talk about the characteristics that the humans share with the apes. On our previous slides, we talked about the biological classification and also how to interpret phylogenetic tree and also what it is. Now we're going to look at the characteristics that the humans share with African apes. So here we're going to investigate similarities between humans and other primates, between humans and other member of the family Hominidae. So we're still in the family of the Hominidae, but we're going to see the different and similarities with other primates. However, we know that evolution is a continuous process that have resulted in major variation through time. So we're going to investigate the variation in the bipedalism, the brain size, the dentition, the palate shape, the prognathism, the cranial ridges, and also brow ridges. So, therefore, those characteristics that were said above, we're going to do the similarity, we're going to compare the similarities and also the differences. The differences. Remember, we said we are using one of the other primates that live within or that belong within the family of Hominidae. So here we're going to compare the above characteristics of modern human with those of chimpanzees or African ape. So on this slide, we have the similarities between the Homo sapiens and also African apes. So these are the characteristics that the human shares with African apes. So I have tried to zoom this so that you can be able to see. So the first characteristics that we share with humans share with apes is that we have the opposable thumb for grip in apes. So the apes use it for the grip, and then in human, we use it for precisioning grip. So in humans, it is used for precision grip, and then in apes, it is for power grip. The second says that two hands each with 5 fingers and 2 feet with 5 toes. So humans and apes have 5 fingers and 2 hands and also have 2 feet that has 5 toes. So we have long arms that rotate freely as shoulder joints allow movement in all directions. So both humans and the apes they have long arms that rotate freely as the shoulder joints allow movement in all directions. So we have a naked fingerprints, toes ending in flat nails. So we have fingerprints and our toes are ending in the flat nails. A reduced snort with a wicked sense of smell, reduced olfactory brain centers. So we are able to smell, we are able to use our senses, we can also smell. So the stereoscopic vision as the eye faces forward, providing the depth of field of 3D vision. So we all able to see we have two eyes facing in a forward directions. Our eyes have cones as well as rods. So our eyes have cones and rods, making us color vision possible. So it makes us to be able to see. The brain center that process information from hands and eye are enlarged. So both humans and apes have the brain that process information from our hands to our eyes. We are not tall. And then lastly, we are there's sexual dimorphism where males and females are clearly distinguished. So between the apes in humans and apes, we are able to distinguish a male and female gender. Those were the similarities between apes and also humans. Coming to our second slide, which is obviously the differences between the humans and the African apes. So we are bipedalism. So bipedalism, it means that we can stand up with our 2 feet. So humans are bipedal, meaning that they walk up front on 2 feet, and then the apes are quadrupedal. Chimpanzee and gorillas are knuckle walkers, meaning that they use their 4 limbs to walk. So the benefits of bipedalism: the hands are free to use for tools. We can occupy a wider range of habitats, can see further because the head is in a high position to see over object blocking their view. There's a large surface area of air to cool and body to the air to cool the body down. And then also small surfaces are from above to prevent. So lastly is that we have small surfaces are from above to prevent overheating. So that's the benefit of bipedalism. Remember, these are the differences. So we all have the foreign magnum, but the position of the foreign magnum differs. So the foreign magnum position of human is that the magnum moves forward in the skull, and the skull sits above the vertebral column. So our foreign magnum, its position forward, as you can see here, it's forward, and then the skull sits above the vertebral column. So our skull sits above our vertebral column. On the apes, since they are quadruped, so it means that their foreign magna is situated at the back, as you can see here. This is a picture of the chimpanzee skull. So their foreign magnum is situated at the back of the skull and head in front of the vertebral column. Remember, the skull sits above our vertebral column in humans, and then on the apes, the skull and the head, they are in front of the vertebral column. So another difference is that the shape of our spine. So the ape have a C shape, whereas human spine is S shaped. As you can see here in this picture, this is the human, this is the spinal of the apes, this is the ape. So we can see ours, it's more like an S shape, and then whereas of the ape, it's more like of an C shape. So the human spine is an S shape because for shock absorption and also flexibility. Coming to another differences is that we have the pelvic shape of the humans differs with of apes. So the large, shorter, and wide supports more weight. So of humans, we have the large. This is our human pelvis. So it is large, it is shorter, and it is also wide to support more weight. So of apes and chimpanzee, it is long and narrow. You can see on this picture, the chimpanzee pelvis, it is long and narrow. So it is adapted to quadruple kneeling work, providing a greater region. Remember, we stand on 2 feet. They use their limbs to work, so they are quadrupedal. So it means their hips are not the same as ours. Now we come into the brain size. So over the time, the cranial volume increased allow for the brain size to increase. So our human average brain, its size, it ranges between 1,300 to 1,400 gram, or 1,400 gram centimeter cubic. So of a new baby, it ranges from 350 to 400 gram. And then of chimpanzees, it ranges from 384 to 395. So it means that there is a volume that is increased in our brain size. So over time, the cranial volume increases to allow the brain size to also increase. So when you look on this, we have large brain, and then of chimpanzees, they have smaller brain because of the size of the brain. So the skull represent the apes, and then this one represent the human. So the benefits of the brain size. So with an increased brain, we can do the following. We can use fire, we develop language, we develop to use, so we are able to use to make our own tools. Coming to the other differences, it's the dentition, which is our teeth. So the size of the teeth became smaller over time, meaning that the canines become smaller in humans. So in humans, the canines are the same size as other teeth. So in apes, there's a large gap between the canines and also incisors. So the large gap there between the canines and the incisor, it's called the diastema. So in humans, between the canines and incisors, we don't have that gap. Here, this is a picture of showing the chimpanzee's mouth and also showing the humans. So remember, we were talking about the teeth. You can see here, they say that the canines of the humans are the same size as other teeth. So here on the apes, it's more larger. We also have the palate shape. So in the chimpanzees, the palate it's long. We can see here the palate. Here's the palate. It's long, and then in the human, it's smaller. When you see here, we have a smaller palate, which is almost semicircular. And then here we have the ponenthism. So apes have a large protruding jaws, and then humans protruding jaws are smaller. We have smaller jaws and smaller teeth. So you can see why the teeth of the apes are larger, because they have a protruding jaws. And then we have smaller protruding jaws. Coming to the cranial brow ridges, because of the shape of their jaws, apes have well developed cranial brow ridges. So are the cranial ridges. So of apes, it's more brow ridges because they use it for chewing muscle attachment. So the cranial and brow ridges become reduced over time, with the brow ridges still present in the early hominins. So in humans, these have almost completely disappeared. So in humans, it is almost completely disappeared. So our cranial and brow ridges are not well developed as of humans. Now, this is just the summary of what we have did. I have explained that in depth. Here is just a summary of the differences between the humans and also the apes. Now, this is the end of our lesson. You can use this link to watch more of what we did. Now, remember, out of this lesson, you have to complete a quiz, a worksheet, a writing log, and also a rating scale. This was our first lesson of human evolution. See you on the next lesson of human evolution. Thank you.